The story of this opera goes back in its original form to about 2,500 years ago, for where the armies and invasion of Alexander the Great encountered the north of India and the beginnings of Buddhist philosophy. And the quest which is given to the central character of the opera, a challenge to save a child who has died, to bring the child back to life, in fact. The quest is to find someone who is genuinely happy, and if they are entirely happy in every way in their lives, to take a button from their shirt, and if the woman returns from her mythical quest, this is a fairy tale story in a way, if she returns with one of these buttons, apparently she's told the child will come to life again. The theme at the center of the opera, I suppose, is the pursuit of happiness and whether complete happiness is possible in this world. I worked on this story for 2-3 years composing. Martin Crimp had spent about a year writing the text. And so obviously our lives were completely taken over by this theme. And it required a lot of thinking and potential sympathy to view such a complex, at the same time very simple and immensely complex human phenomenon. All 4 operas that I've written have been collaborations with the British author Martin Crimp. And I recall the first time that he explained the story of Picture a Day Like This to me. I recall that very clearly. It was just after the lockdown because of COVID in 2020, and it was almost the first moment that people in London were allowed to leave their homes. I went to his area in the south of London, and we went for a walk in the magnificent park, Richmond Park, which was completely empty on an incredibly beautiful day. And the sun was shining, it was spring. And Martin patiently, gently explained what he was intending, the roots of the story that fascinated him. And then it must be about a year later that one day I received in the post the completely finished text from him. And it's happened to me 4 times now that I receive a text like this, not by email, not in a fancy package, in a very simple brown envelope. And I open it with a degree of trepidation because 2 or 3 years of my life will depend on this text. And maybe I don't read it immediately, wait half an hour, and then I read it. And it doesn't take very long because the number of words needed for music is much less than you need for a play. And so maybe it was 20 pages of quite spaced out writing. I remember that I found it extremely touching, at some points very funny, and most importantly at the end, I remember being very moved by Martin's words. And there's a reaction you can have when you have strong emotion. We call it in English goose pimples. They go up your whole body, and it's something you can't control. And that happened. So the moment on the last page when I finished reading the text. And so then, from that moment, I knew, I was confident that I had a text that would give me everything I needed and would sustain me through the many, many months of composing that were ahead. When people sing with a different sound quality, a different emotional quality, a different dramatic instinct, different capacity for acting as well, and they bring a different feeling to the piece, and yet, something very important to me, they remain absolutely faithful to the text and the notes and the rhythms and bring out the words clearly. So I'm in a way surprised how often I've been absolutely delighted to encounter a completely new singer, and they're doing something marvelous with what I designed for someone else, and they've made it their own. So here in Cologne, I think we only have 2 of the original cast of 5 who were in the original production, in the original performances in Eggs. So obviously, I'm fascinated, impatient, and excited to hear what these new artists will do with the piece, how they will portray it, and I will find that out very shortly at the dress rehearsal.